we'll all wear a mask. How about that?
And we're on Facebook on Nostalgic PodBlast if you want to see us.
That's right. This is social distancing like crazy. But
we're about to start the live video.
All right, my friend, we will call you back in about probably about 4 o'clock at the latest.
All right, I'll be waiting.
Thank you, sir, so very much. Michael, talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We're live.
We're live. Hey, Facebook land.
He's off.
Back in the proper
Are we on the air?
deck.
We're about to be. We're not actually recording yet. We are on Facebook Live, though.
So
we are on camera.
I'll need you to
There's
track
the camera.
me again because you have once again pulled me down.
Guys, we got a treat. We have a special guest in studio, Larry Wax.
Play it.
Larry W-A-C-H.
Okay, so.
Yes, I'm here. This is unbelievable. By the way, I'm so happy to be here. One reason is besides all, I mean, Al, what a house you have here. Not only, you should see Al's house. It's like you're like a film hoarder. I've been collecting 16mm prints for about 20 years,
More like
but
a film
I don't have.
horror.
What's that?
I should be on
More like a film.
It is a little scary down in his basement,
No,
but it is packed roof to floor with films and projectors, and he's got a real screening room, a 35mm projector, a radio station in the spare bedroom.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, here's the greatest thing about being here today: there are no masks, there's no hygiene, there is no social distancing, there is no air conditioning. This couldn't be more.
I do have a window unit over there.
Well, okay, but that's like that makes it even more 1975.
I like it. I like
than
it.
I had imagined.
So basically, you're saying Al lives in one big damn fire trap.
Oh yeah,
Now,
this
wait a
place.
minute.
This,
Now,
I mean,
wait a minute.
did you show him all the nitrate film you have?
Listen,
that's true.
I'm no expert, but on the way in, I counted like 16 code violations
Exactly.
of whatever county this is.
That's what I'm thinking too.
But this is great.
Don't forget to share on the IRWIN Allen groups before we get rolling on the actual program, if you don't mind.
Well,
So this is not the
you
show.
would have to share back there because I can't do that and do everything else in here. We share after the fact.
This is the show within the show.
Al's not a member of the IRWIN Allen groups. Yes,
but
this is a show within the show.
We share after.
We need to get going because we got to watch film.
All right, hold on, guys. All right,
Frantic
we're almost ready.
The preparations here, like you're doing a network television show. It's amazing.
This is the prep work.
How come you don't like record it and then put it out at the appropriate time?
Well, we do.
Multi-track.
Okay, so-
Well, after Facebook Live, it goes on
Okay.
Spotify, Stitcher, and all the
And
iTunes,
fistfulofradio.com
Fistful Radio
next
and all that
weekend.
Do you do post-production on it or
stuff.
anything?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, if it needs it. This week,
If we don't need it,
Well, I mean-
and then I'll post it
No.
on the podcast sites tomorrow.
What's
Oh,
your
wow.
which hand is your fader hand?
Either one.
Because I'm gonna have to smack both of them because once again you've pulled me
I haven't
down.
touched it. Play it. Play it.
Pulled me down.
I like the battles backstage.
So leave it at that volume.
All
Come
right.
over and smack
All
you
right.
down.
Okay.
Smack your hand.
All
For
right.
being a bad audio engineer.
All right, how are we going to open this? The same way?
I'm going to put it the same way. Larry's going to pop in, and then
I'm gonna do my bit.
I will hit the theme song after the explosion. Or when you hear the explosion, you can say, "Hey, what time is it?"
Okay. All right.
So don't forget, after you hear
Hear the explosion.
hear the explosion.
All right.
I will point to you, and you'll say, "Hey, kids, what time is it?"
Okay.
And then we'll all chime in.
It's
and say,
PodBlast time.
And don't shout.
I want to
Chance.
get this on.
Put your mic around,
I want to
Chance.
get this on Facebook Live.
Okay. So
All right. There you go.
I don't know where
there
to
we
find
go.
it.
So does this light really need to be on? This big light really have to be
It
on?
doesn't have to be on.
Okay.
Are you hot?
Because you got all the bulbs on, whereas before last time.
I screwed one back
He
in.
screwed 'em
I'm
back in.
sorry, I screwed one back in.
Let me
The
just
one
see what it
facing
looks
you.
like.
Just
It's too dark.
Let me see. Hang
Oh yeah, that's good. Puts
like
me in the
that, Larry?
mood.
It looks good, though.
turn that
Puts me in
light
the
on.
mood. I feel like I'm on a spaceship.
Turn that light on.
Aren't we talking about
Okay,
spaceship
guys.
shows?
Yes.
Lost in Space, right?
The Jupiter
And then
2.
turn your light back on.
They've got a whole guest list here
Now,
today.
Chance, get
Yeah,
off
turn
your
the light
computer
on, Chance.
and turn your light on.
That looks good.
Except aim it down. Aim it down.
Like that.
I'm going to share this.
Good.
There we go.
Yes, please share. And you can't share on the IRWIN Allen groups. I'll try to, but I'm not a member of the IRWIN Allen groups.
Yeah.
We can do it after.
Okay,
Neither am
so
I.
so
Don't
here,
worry.
so here we go. My microphone sounds very muffled, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it.
That's fine. It sounds like it always does.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. In 5, 4.
Hang on. I
I'm
got to
sorry.
start recording.
I thought you.
Anytime.
Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
man who brought you Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Lost in Space, The Time Tunnel, and Land of the Giants. Now comes the fantasy worlds of IRWIN Allen. Featuring clips from your favorite TV shows, interviews with the people who made it happen. With your host,
Chance Bartles, Tom Williams, Al Hardy as the irrepressible robot, and special guest Larry WACHS.
Hey, fellas, what time is it?
It's PodBlast time. I'm
PodBlast
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Hit it.
I did hit it.
Now again. There we go.
Yeah.
Don't you love technical things? It's just so lovely.
Wow, my mic isn't on.
There it
We
is.
are blessed to have a special guest in the house, Mr. Larry Wacks, one
Thank
of the
you.
regular guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good to be
This
here.
is some setup you've got here, guys. I mean, this is a whole old-time radio station with a board and mics and everything reel to reel inside somebody's
House.
bedroom.
That's true. A spare bedroom, a small bedroom.
And then downstairs in this basement, which embodies the word basement in every way you can imagine, there's a whole screening room, 16 millimeter films and 35 millimeter films and projectors and
and digital.
Oh, you can't say that. Oh, yes, you can. You turned me down again.
Digital.
No, you're fine.
You can't. There's no such thing as digital. I feel like it's 1975. There's no such thing as digital.
Well, I still like digital. I mean, you go to the movie, it looks
I don't like it
great.
as
I mean,
much.
I like film, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I've been collecting film since I was a teenager.
So what are we going to be? I can't talk. What are we going to be talking about today, Chance?
It's part of our MOGULS series, and we're going to discuss a television and movie mogul, Mr. IRWIN Allen. If you've never heard of him, you're going to get a real earful of knowledge
Wow.
and clips. He did a lot of movies, and I think, Al, I really sound low for some reason. Maybe it's
Well, you're
Yeah, I do
fine.
too. But,
Okay.
that's
You're fine.
okay.
Al, tell us a little bit about the history of Mr. IRWIN Allen.
He was born in 1916, June 12th. He's
June
got
12th.
a birthday coming up this week.
Yeah, he's
Or
over
next.
100 years old now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
What?
He was known as the disaster master, basically.
Master of disaster.
Master of disaster. I got it backwards.
That's got it
you know.
backwards.
And,
But he started out as a magazine editor,
yeah,
didn't he?
and he started out working for RKO
Wow.
as a producer,
well,
right?
well, that was afterwards.
Afterwards?
That was after his magazine editing things went around, called the Hollywood Merry-Go-Round. He wrote a column called that, and that turned into a radio show, which was the first celebrity talk show ever produced for television. He did that.
Wow.
So he was a trendsetter.
Didn't he employ O.J. Simpson at one point?
Well, yeah, he did. That's much later. That's much
Am
later.
I wrong?
No, you're right. And
The
Towering
Poseidon
Inferno.
Adventure, wasn't it?
Well, no, I think
Towering
it was
Inferno.
Towering Inferno.
Towering Inferno. That's
Inferno,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. My bad.
Yeah.
And who knows what else he funded of
But
O.J.'s.
Al's right. His first producing job came from RKO, where he produced a film with Robert Mitchum. What was that film called? Where Danger Lives.
Where Danger Lives.
Yeah.
Did he ever go to Epstein Island? I
1950.
wonder?
He probably did.
Probably did before anybody knew what that was.
Exactly.
In the old days. I'm sure they had something like that for people in the 1960s.
Well, they did.
Producers,
They
right?
certainly- yeah. They
Playboy
certainly did.
Mansion.
Otto Preminger was famous for that.
Otto Preminger.
That's how he got the job on the Batman series. Cause he was-
As Tom, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze is one of
That's right.
one of three Mr. Freezes, right?
And
Eli
he
Wallach?
was one of those guys, huh?
He was one of those guys.
What did he do with?
Well, he thought he was just the cat's meow. All the women just loved him.
Well, if you're Mr. Freeze, you're going to think that.
Well,
of
exactly.
course.
But they just liked him because he was Hollywood, and they thought he could get me in a movie. Can't you, Mr. Preminger?
Oh, so he had his own casting couch.
Say, well, that's what I'm thinking.
Mr.
Now, I'm not saying he
Freeze.
did. I'm not saying he did. It's Freeze's couch, I think, is
I
what
bet
it's
Mr. Freeze is pretty hard.
called. Yeah. Oh,
Rim shot.
Where's that?
Pod blast. Pod blast.
Pod blast, rim shot, big time right there. But anyway, he went on to do after he did his stint doing all that Hollywood stuff. He went on to do work for RKO, like Al said, and he did a documentary called "The Sea Around Us."
1953.
Yeah, based on the book which he loved by Rachel Carson. I can't talk. And he won his first Oscar. I think it was his only Oscar, wasn't it, Chance?
Yeah.
Was that his only? Wait a minute, you're supposed to know all this
Well,
stuff.
he actually
Why are you shrugging your shoulders?
the movie Towering Inferno won an Oscar for cinematography.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about him personally. He
I don't think he did. I
no.
don't think he won an
The only
Oscar personally.
The only Oscar he got was for The Sea Around Us, which was a documentary,
Yeah.
and that was back in 1952.
Shot in what we
And-
know as
yeah.
Technicolor.
Thank you for
Correct.
getting back to the beginning. We were getting way ahead of ourselves there with
Correct.
the disaster movie.
So anyway, so the animal world and all this other thing would soon become his trademark. He would do all these different films back then before he started into the television and all the other stuff. Story of Mankind was built upon because he was cheap. Can I say that? He was cheap. And he
Well,
liked
he
to-
was Jewish.
Yes, yeah. And he liked to use a lot of outtakes and stock footage to build his films. And when he shot, for instance, even when he shot Lost in Space, even though it was black and white, he had the foresight to shoot the scenes of the actual spaceship in color.
yes, he did. Great point.
You
The
know?
pilot was called No Place to Hide. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Shot in 1964.
Right.
And he did the effects shots in color.
Yes, he did.
He should have shot the whole thing in color.
He really should.
Gene Roddenberry did with the Cage, the original Star Trek pilot.
Right. But he did a bunch of movies, The Big Circus, The Lost World.
Which was a dinosaur movie,
which was-
obviously.
yeah,
1960 with David Hedison.
That's
Who
correct.
worked for him later on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Right. Now, if you watch The Lost World open.
We have 50 people on Facebook. already.
Wow.
Is that right?
It's 10 times that, actually.
But if you
so
watch
there's
the
500.
opening.
I think I had a lot to do with that.
Can I finish?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, if we were at my house, I'd be ringing a bell right now. Remember? Where's your bell, Al? Oh,
I got my bell.
so that's whenever. Anyway, so the Lost
Irwin
World, the Lost World. If you watch the opening sequence of that with Claude Rains, it's just like Jurassic Park.
Really?
Well, yes, with Richard Attenborough. I mean, it really is. The guy was getting Claude's got the beard and everything.
Really?
And it's
Yeah,
just like the Jurassic Park.
I've seen them, but it's been a long time ago.
Yeah, so basically someone watched that film and said, oh, that would look good in Jurassic Park. So there's a little bit of plagiarism as far as I'm concerned. Although no one has really said that before, I'm saying it now. There's a little bit of plagiarism.
I would have sued.
Yeah, exactly. So his film, The Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Well, the TV show came first.
No,
the
the
movie
movie
came
came
first.
Oh, that's right, because in
Yeah.
62,
Because
what
it
was
had-
it? 61.
61. And it had
Filmed in
Walter,
60.
Walter Pigeon as the commander.
Admiral
as-
Nelson.
As Admiral Nelson.
Shall I play a portion of this?
Yeah, you should.
Were you guys born yet?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
No.
You were not?
I'm a Gen Xer. They're boomers.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
boomers, I guess.
We're boomers.
But it was the biggest box office hit of 1961. It really was. So that's the amazing part.
And tell
about
about the
that.
Look at
plot.
this, Larry.
Tell them about the plot.
I have the 45 of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea by Frank
Look at that.
And we're going to play some.
I used to
play it.
have the 45 of the Batman theme.
Yes.
By the Marquettes.
Yeah.
That's a we,
Yeah,
but
before you play
that was the one
Yeah.
that I played.
and
Right.
My mom threw it out, of course.
Before you play that, Al, I have a
What's the
little
deal?
intro, a clip. Your mom threw it out, Larry?
Of course.
Damn.
Why wouldn't she?
Larry, I have it on tape. You got to punch up the tape before you play that. It's a
be-
brief clip that introduces Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. This is recorded off American Movie Classics in
You
1996.
talking about the clip we did, right?
No, it's a clip you haven't heard yet. I mean, it's real brief. Hold on.
So anyway, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. It also had Peter Lorre in it, and it had Barbara Eden. Now you know who Larry. You don't remember Barbara Eden? Very good. Yeah,
I dream of Jeannie.
Yes.
She was hot.
And she still doesn't look bad for her age. She really
How old is
doesn't.
she now? 80 something?
She's in her 80s, I think.
Wow.
So she still
looks good for 80.
She's still a very attractive young lady.
You got to keep your options open as you grow older. So,
That's right.
But so is Julie Newmar. I mean, considering her age as well, but she's in her 80s, I think.
Yeah.
She still looks pretty darn amazing too.
Yeah.
Because some people take care of themselves, and just like Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island is still a very attractive woman.
Yes, she
is.
is.
Dawn Wells.
However, Tina Louise.
What happened to her? Drugs?
No, she just got old or something. I don't know what.
I think she was a hooker on the side. And that's
She was
gonna-
on Dallas. Here, Al, don't play it yet. Al,
I'm queuing
okay,
it up.
Okay, sorry. Here's a clip, guys, from the introduction. Hit that play button now of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea,
Okay.
the movie.
I can't wait to hear it.
The movie we're about to see, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, was the brainchild of IRWIN Allen, one of Hollywood's most influential filmmakers. His films always tended toward the grand scale, I guess you might say, and he frequently enjoyed both critical and popular success. Films like The Poseidon Adventure, that was one of his. The Towering Inferno was another one. They were both Oscar winners and big winners at the box office, too. Now, in addition to being a producer, this guy, IRWIN Allen, was also a radio host at another time in his career. He was a literary agent, a newspaper columnist, a whole list of things. He was also a lifelong enthusiast of things having to do with the sea. And as such, he had very specific ideas as to what this atomic submarine in the movie we're about to see should look like. And that meant that the film's art director, Herman Blumenthal by name, and the special effects expert, L.B. Abbott, had their work really cut out for them because this guy knew what he wanted. Allen's conception of the submarine was really on its way to becoming a reality, not just some kind of a science fiction what-if exercise. Unfortunately, the U.S. Navy wouldn't cooperate at all on the design for security reasons, so the final design had to be arrived at mainly through the imagination of Allen and his group. And they did pretty well, too. Here's Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Okay, well, who was that, Chance?
Voyage to the bottom of the sea. When I was a kid, I had an 8mm camera. We used to make, my brother and I used to make movies all the time.
Did you do a voice thing? A submarine
no, it was silent.
movie?
It was 8mm. But we made Voyage to the Bottom of the Pool.
I bet that was spectacular. Would you use the bubbles? Did you use straws and blew the bubbles?
I think we broke the camera because it fell in the water. So we were stupid. We thought we could take the camera underwater because the reasoning was on the TV show. Oh, look, they're underwater. Why don't we take the camera underwater? And then, so the film was never released. Is what I'm saying. But it was a good idea.
And now I think you have the song queued up. The title track.
This is from the feature Voice to the Bottom of the Sea. It's Frankie Avalon. Listen.
I hear a lot of birds.
Avalon. Go around, baby, see.
Where's he going? To the bottom.
To the bottom
of the sea. Yeah, a great song.
So Bobby Darin, not James Darin?
Frankie Avalon.
Oh, wasn't even close.
Yeah.
He should have gotten James Darin.
He sang it in the movie.
Yeah.
The flip side was actually the hit on the radio, the summer of '61.
And you're playing that?
That's what we're talking about. Anyway, it's a great song. Frankie Avalon, yeah.
Inconceivable.
Was the jingle for Chicken of the Sea Tuna got from...
I think it was.
It sounds like it. I mean, some of the same chords.
I think it was.
Chicken of the sea.
That's a good one, Larry.
That was a chicken of the sea.
It doesn't make me want tuna, though.
No, it makes me want chicken.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Chicken of the sea.
Tom had some good chicken today.
It's like cockroach of the sea.
I think it's what I had, cockroach of the sea.
Where did you eat?
That's what Gene Simmons
Well, we
refers
won't
to the
say who they
lobsters.
were, but
You had a bad meal.
it wasn't very good. We won't
But, from the movie, that led to the TV show.
Yes, it did. It most certainly did.
Nice transition.
And the TV show was they recast everyone. There was only one actual member from the film that came back.
Sparks.
Do you remember who it was?
Sparks.
Kowalski.
Kowalski.
Yeah,
Kowalski.
Yeah.
Kowalski was the only original one from the film that came back on the TV show. They recast the Admiral with Richard Basehart.
What?
Yes, Richard Basehart.
Here you go.
He was a detective in some show.
Yes, he was. And he also played Hitler.
Here you go. Listen to this.
September 14th, 1964. The first episode aired on ABC.
Now,
There you go.
the story goes that David Hedison didn't want to do the series at all because of his previous experience with IRWIN Allen in one of those movies which I talked about earlier. I think it was The Lost World. But he didn't want to do it because he just knew what it was like to work with him, and he just didn't care for it. He didn't want to go through the trouble. But when he heard Richard Basehart was hired, he said, well, you know what? If Richard Basehart can do it, I can do it, because he had great respect for Basehart.
And Basehart played Admiral Nelson, who Pigeon had played in the film.
Yes,
The
exactly.
commander of the Sea.
Exactly. So
You know what I liked about? I liked the music in it. It was done by Jerry Goldsmith. Did some of the music?
Yeah.
Did you know?
Yeah.
He did. And
You
the
know.
first year was in black and white, and then the following 3 seasons after the first black and white year were in color.
Here's the opening of the show. Listen to this.
I'm only hearing one channel of it, but okay.
Voyage to the bottom of the sea,
Yeah,
starring Richard Basehart,
There it is.
that's it.
David Hedison,
Here goes the flying sub as it flies.
I love
by
that
the
flying
shot.
sub.
Yeah, Flying Sub was
to the
great.
bottom of the sea.
Now,
Great.
Paul
now,
Sawtell wrote that music.
Now-
Paul
now-
Sawtell.
Paul Sutton. Well, to get back to Irwin Allen's cheapness, even the stars knew it about him, especially Stella Stevens. But we'll go there in a few minutes. To make a long story short, he would also reuse scenes from previous shows. Now the monsters.
It was
some,
cheap.
Well, some of the monsters on Voyage also appeared on Lost in Space. So that was a weird part about it. I guess he was hoping you would have forgotten about it. Because some of the monsters did appear on dual roles, which was kind of odd.
That's
But-
kind of fun to spot them, though. It's like a
no,
game.
it is. No, it really is. It is a game, but which is what we're playing now is a game.
And there's an episode I loved. It was called The Phantom. Alfred Ryder played a German sub World War II
Yes,
commander
that was
who
a good one.
drowned. And they
Yes.
brought him back in Return of the Phantom, both in season 2 of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Those
Right.
are exceptional episodes directed by Sutton Rowley.
Didn't he take
a
over
prolific director.
Hedison's body or something like that in that movie?
Yes, he possesses
Yeah,
Admiral Nelson.
yeah.
And then he gets a
No, not Admiral Nelson. He takes over
Lee Crane.
Cranes. Yeah.
Which is David Hedison's character.
Yeah.
But then at the end, he gets freed of the curse with a woman. Bettina Marcus was an actress, probably, I think she was a mistress of Irwin Allen. And you'd recognize her. In
She
Lost
was.
in Space, she played this alien in the second color episode that's after Dr. Smith for the Jupiter 2 fuel supply and seduces Dr. Smith. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
Bettina Marcus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say hi to our Facebook people.
Yeah,
And there was
yeah.
a guy, he just said, Robert Lewis Brown is his name. He says, I listen to you guys on the radio, and I really like your show.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank
to-
you. I'm
Yeah,
fistfulofradio.com.
Yeah.
Well, there were so many great episodes there, but as with all Irwin Allen's products, they tended to get real campy, like the season 2 or season 3. Now, Time Tunnel was only season 1, but we haven't gone there yet. But Voyage and Lost in Space were the longest running shows, right? Chance?
That's correct. 4 seasons for Voyage and 3 seasons for
Well,
Lost in
Voyage was
Space.
his longest running series.
Right.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
do you have, I mean,
But they got campy. But they got real campy. at
well,
the
so
end,
did Lost in Space,
know.
we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But Larry, did you watch Voyage when it was on?
I was not a sci-fi kid. I was more Batman. I caught a few episodes. Yeah,
Right.
I would watch with my friends, but I was more Batman and
Green Hornet? Green Hornet?
Leave It to Beaver. Green Hornet was a big
Yeah.
fave.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
1 season there, too. Green Hornet.
Right. Well, Bruce Lee died, so it's hard to do more episodes.
Oh, that's true.
They couldn't find, but believe it or not, at that time in this country, there were no other Japanese people. He
Wait,
was the only one.
now here's the weird thing.
Or Chinese. I don't know what he was.
Japanese.
Now we can't imagine, but it was that was
His
tough.
daughter's pissed about the Quentin Tarantino movie,
Yes.
Hollywood. What,
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in
Once
Hollywood.
Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
the way he
His
was
story
off.
is on
Spoiler alert.
ESPN tonight. His the
What, Bruce Lee?
E60
Oh, it
documentary.
is.
Yeah. they did
Well,
that.
the funny thing is David Carradine beat him out for as Liu Chang in Kung Fu.
Oh, that was my
And so
favorite show.
who knows if he had gotten that role, would he still be alive? You never can tell. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, granted, I know he died, of one thing, but if he was busy doing something else, then he might not have.
How did he die?
Run into wasn't it kind of a?
Because I know David Carradine died in his closet.
Yeah, yes, he did. But
He
we
was
will
having
go there.
fun with himself.
He was
too
having
much.
fun with himself.
Yeah. He took it to a whole nother
I-
level.
But Bruce Lee didn't do that too.
No, no,
Okay.
he did not.
So there's no trend here.
No, there was no trend there. There's no connection either.
How did he die? Did he lose a fight?
No, he was in a closet too. No, I'm just kidding. He was not in a closet.
You're gonna
But
get sued.
He died July 20th, 73. That was some years after the Green Hornet had ended. But yes, let's see. I'm looking it up. Go ahead.
you go ahead. I thought you had
I'm
the
gonna
facts in
guess.
front
I'm
of
gonna
you.
guess car wreck.
No, it wasn't a car wreck. I want to say it was
got
a
hit in
slight
the
drug overdose. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But Chance is supposedly looking, but he's not finding anything.
If he died of a drug overdose, he was probably murdered.
I don't know. I really don't.
'Cause that guy didn't look like he was on drugs.
Is anybody guessing?
It
out
was
there?
a brain situation.
A brain
edema.
situation.
I'm probably
Fluid on the brain.
EDEMA.
That's fluid on the brain.
Yeah.
Well,
And
probably
32 years
He was
young.
a
because
waterhead.
when he got kicked or something.
God.
Who knows?
Did he get kicked? Oh, yeah.
Who knows? I mean, it could have been from a kick.
That's strange because MMA fighters they get kicked in the head all the time. They don't.
Yes,
die
they
from
do.
that.
It
And
is-
Bruce Lee was a master. I think he was murdered. Looking back on it retroactively, that's my conspiracy.
Gambling
theory.
debts.
Yeah.
Mob rubbed him
Like
out.
Michael Jordan's dad.
Oh, God.
Well,
hilarious.
let's
Well,
move on.
the first season
Accident
of
on
Voyage, of
set.
course, was in black and white.
As I
And-
mentioned, yeah.
And then the last 3 years of color.
As I mentioned, yeah.
And then you brought an episode on film we're going to watch.
Yeah, and I brought the Time Tunnel pilot. We're not going there yet. We want to go in chronological
Time
order.
Tunnel. I used to watch that when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
But
go
I
there.
forgot so much. I'd like to
And
see
Irwin
that.
directed the pilot,
go
and
there
it
in a
takes
minute.
place on the Titanic. It's cool.
Oh no! With
Yeah.
all the bankers.
Oh, that's what you got.
Yeah.
That's what you got.
Or
You-
Titanic.
You don't
as I
have
call
the
it.
Alamo episode.
Titanic.
Not on film. I have them all on
That's-
DVD.
Oh, I've got them all too. But
And I brought also the Land of the Giants pilot, also directed by Irwin Allen.
We watched that one time, didn't we?
1967. Yeah.
And the
Mid-print.
Giants I watched.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Gary
used to be a
Conway,
favorite.
Deanna Lund, Larry King's one of his former lovers is in
She
that.
was
The redhead.
beautiful.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
Well, should we move? Should we go ahead and, because we can spend a whole show talking about Voyage to the
Lost
Bottom
in
of the Sea. So let's go to
Well, that was my favorite. I love Voyage.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
Now,
Yeah.
Now, which theme did you like the best from season one, or would they change it in season
That's
two?
a very good
You
question.
should know this, Chance.
Season 1 and 2 had a theme by John Williams that they
Right.
changed in season 3. They jazzed it up for season 3.
Right.
And Mr. Johnny Williams, as he was known at the time, he actually scored 4 episodes of the black and white first season of Black and White, which debuted in September 1965.
Is that why John Williams
CBS.
doesn't talk about it anymore, because he was known as Johnny Williams back then?
I don't know. The first movie he did, and around those times, he did a song for Valley of the Dolls in 1966 while he was still scoring main themes for Irwin Allen. In fact, I'm jumping ahead. Alexander Courage, best known as writing Star Trek's theme, did the music for the Land of the Giants pilot, and Irwin Allen rejected the music and said
No
nope. And he
kidding.
scrapped it, and on DVD they've released the unaired version of the pilot with the music by Alexander Courage. But he brought in John Williams and scrapped all that music, and it was much better, the John Williams music for the pilot, called The Crash.
Oh, the crash.
And that aired on ABC TV. But
No, no.
we're not going to stop with Lost in Space, because we're just getting started. That's the most popular of all of Irwin Allen's TV shows. And it survives to this day. It's on Netflix. There's a new show. It's got 3 seasons in the can already, and they changed the robot. But getting back to Lost in Space, speaking of the robot, that is the model B9.
Model B9, that's correct.
And it was designed by Rob Kinoshita, who also designed the
Give me the little robot there.
designed the robot for Forbidden Planet in the 50s.
So
And he's
that was a
Japanese
commercially
designer.
available robot you could get.
Yeah, this is from Japan. It's
At
an
the
import,
time.
and it winds up
The B9.
the B9 robot.
My
And
parents had a A37 when I was growing up.
here's the
So-
first version of the thing.
So it starred Guy Williams as Zorro, June
From
Lockhart
Zorro.
as Timmy's mom, Mike Goddard, I don't know what else his name.
detectives.
Marta Christian as Marta
Judy.
Christian. Bill Mooney. Hopefully he doesn't wish anyone in the cornfield.
And the only one who had a credit for a character, Angela Cartwright as Penny, because she had just been in The Sound of Music, so she was a big name. And the Danny Thomas Show, otherwise known as Make Room for Daddy in syndication before Lost in Space.
That's true. That's very true.
Don't you find it interesting that it's a show about space, yet the music is 50s jazz?
You know,
He's got a point.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool
good point.
jazz.
That's
Like,
a very good point.
what was that choice? Like, I guess in space they have jazz. That's their theme music.
And then you got even jazzier in season 3 in that version of the theme by John Williams.
Exactly.
And that's my favorite. To answer your question, I like this version.
Yeah, I like this one better too. But it is
Yeah.
interesting.
I like that drum beat.
Yeah.
It's like Hawaii 5-0.
A lot of pace.
But here's the best part coming up of the music. Right now. Take your gas X.
And everyone's a little older. Angela Cartwright's a little older. Of course she's a little older.
And the special guest star, Jonathan Harris. First time you heard that credit was on Lost in Space of a special guest star.
You had the juice.
That's right.
And you saw it again years later on Melrose Place. Heather Locklear had a special guest star credit on that show.
Really?
But you know, Lost in Space started out as kind of a cool show. But then, after a couple of years, it just got silly.
What was the plot?
It was a kiddie. It became a kiddie show, basically.
Okay, man,
Right.
Earth is overpopulated, so they want to go to
Okay.
Alpha Centauri, and the
That's a
Robinson
star,
family,
a planet or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's another
Okay.
constellation, another solar
Alpha
system.
Centauri. How come
And-
they didn't pick something closer, like Saturn?
It's the only
Yeah,
Earth
Was that
planet
was
they
that like
could
a brand
find.
name they couldn't get the rights to or something?
Good point. I never thought of that.
There's plenty of planets.
And the family's frozen in suspended animation
could've
because
gone
it's
to
going
moon.
to take years. So.
Yeah, the moon. Why not the moon?
Yeah, come on. Well, you know, the funny thing is in the pilot, though, Dr. Smith wasn't even in the pilot. Neither was the B9 robot.
No, the pilot was called No Place to Hide,
Right.
and it was before the robot was added and Dr. Smith. It
Right.
was just the Robinson family. It was based on the comic book Space Family Robinson. Brought a copy of it.
Oh,
You did, of course
Well,
you did.
Dr. Smith was a
Family
stowaway, right?
Robinson. Hold on.
Well,
Okay,
Dr.
good
Smith was a
You're like-
stowaway,
You're
right?
like Mr.
Yeah,
Lost
yes.
in Space.
Yeah, so they test marketed this back in 1964.
Look at that.
And Irwin Allen, it was brought to his attention it's just missing a little
Well,
something. So
yeah.
they had a saboteur in the form of Dr. Smith. As they did in the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea movie, there was a
Really?
saboteur on the Seaview in the movie.
Gold
Really?
key.
So Irwin Allen had a thing for writing saboteur characters.
Oh, that's-
And he was supposed
that's
to be
crazy.
killed after the 5th episode, by the way, Jonathan Harris.
So this family is trying to get to this planet,
Alpha Centauri star
and
system.
something messes up their
Yeah.
whole agenda.
Dr.
Exactly.
Smith does.
Dr.
'cause
Smith.
He's
wait,
paid
wait,
by
wait,
a
wait,
foreign
wait, wait,
power.
wait, wait.
What?
Is that the phone I'm hearing ringing? Al, is that the phone call? We need to get the phone. Al, grab the phone. Okay, so let's call Michael real quick.
Sorry, Facebook Live. We had to do a little jump in time. But,
This is a little edit.
well, I'll hold my thought then about the saboteur that Larry asked
Please
me about.
do.
Okay.
That's fascinating.
Are you ready to call him?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Give me the number.
Don't say it over the air. Just hand it to him.
Don't say it
Kill.
over there.
Kill.
Don't say it on the Facebook Live video.
Wait. I'm going to. So it's like
give you a finger symbol.
Just like, okay.
the finger symbol. Don't give your kind of finger symbol now. There it is, right there.
The person we're calling, Facebook Live viewers,
Your mic isn't even on.
is an impersonator.
So Al,
An
kill
actor.
the audio because we hear. Now make him live.
Hit record, Al. Hit record.
Hello.
Hello, call. Hello. So wait a minute. Who is this calling, please? Who is this?
This is Jonathan Harris or Dr. Zachary Smith.
Ooh,
The Great Beyond. It's
From the-
Jonathan Harris.
It's right.
Otherwise known
Man.
as Dr. Zachary Smith.
We were just talking about you.
Pleasantly, I imagine.
Well, of course, and there's no other way. There's no other way. Well, Chance was just telling us about how you weren't in the pilot originally, and now you're in the first episode. You and the robot, the B9. How did that come to pass? Do you know? Do you remember that far back, Jonathan?
Well, you know, the pilot was shot originally, Sam's robot and I am told that the studio told himself or Irwin Allen that there was something missing, so they decided to add a house villain.
Ah.
So my agent, my then agent, whose name escapes me at the moment, rang me up and said, Irwin Allen wants to see film on you. So you know what that means.
Yes.
So I told the agent, what's the part? I don't know, said Mr. 10%. So I said, you tell Mr. Allen that I'm hesitant to show him the wrong film. I'd rather show him the real thing, me. And he said, well, he's not going to like that. And I said, fuck him.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Well,
And then at 4 o'clock, the phone rang, and it was Irwin Allen and said, who the hell do you think you are? I'll see you at 20th Century Fox, 4 o'clock.
oh, what a great story. What a great story. That's fantastic.
I thought he was dead. That's great.
No, he's calling from beyond.
I
This is
know.
from the Great
It's
Beyond, man.
amazing. It's Amazing.
So,
Mr. Harris, you actually met me back in 1992 at the Dixie Trek convention here in Atlanta, Georgia. And do you remember you actually pinched my butt?
How lovely. No.
You said night
Guilty of
chance.
thumb pinching? Never.
Okay, so you're denying it. Okay,
of course,
well,
and
I remember
would,
it like
and I
it was
would
yesterday.
Too. No, he didn't do that. You
Yes,
just,
no, he really
in
did.
your dreams, he
And
really,
Chance liked it. He liked
yeah,
it.
He liked it a lot.
Chance liked it.
So, so your character on Lost in Space seemed to actually evolve because it would appear that you and young Will, and the B9 robot became more popular than the main characters, the stars of the show. How did you feel about that happening to yourself?
Well, I thought it was lovely. You see, when I read the character at first, I was hired to be a deep-dyed, snarling villain.
Ooh.
And I knew that 4 or 5 episodes of that crap, and they'd have to kill me off. So I decided to sneak in my little bits. You see, I am known for comedic villainy.
Right.
And I started to sneak them in, hoping that nobody would notice.
Ah.
Well, Irwin noticed. And he stormed into my dressing room, and always with a finger. Yeah, that finger sticking out all the time, right under my nose. You! I know what you're doing, he said. And I said, and he said, do more.
Oh, that's
I had carte blanche for the first time in my vast career to do whatever I will with my character.
that's
And I
fantastic.
did. I did it to the full. And I hope that I didn't overstep, but
No, you didn't overstep, because I think that brought the character even more to life and more endearing than any other character on the show, with the exception of the B9 robot. Oh.
And you,
B9
every little boy, everybody wants to be Will. Not so much that double-headed booby, but Will, the robot. The robot was a gift from the heavens to me. A
Yes.
robot. Whoever had a robot for a straight man?
Nobody.
Me, that's it.
So what was your relationship with young Will Robinson like, aside from the show? You know, when you guys...
Bill Mumy.
Well, Bill Mumy, but I'm just trying to say that after the show was over, or even when you cut the scenes, how was your relationship with Bill Mumy? I mean, did you ever, did he look upon you as his father figure?
Oh, we were great friends. He was very talented, you know. Still remains a very talented man. Not only with acting, but with the music that he does and things. He's a lovely, talented man. And I got very lucky.
Yes.
Because you always hear, you know, kids and animals don't work without us. Billy was extremely talented. I would have him called into my dressing room, and we would go over our scenes. And I would say, originally you were saying but and so, but now, my boy, I have changed the script, and you will be saying this, and then you will be delivering your line. We had a lovely relationship, and we still do.
But he never wished you in the cornfield, right?
No, not yet. I'm not. I'm touching the wood as we speak. I'm knocking on wood that he won't.
Jonathan, this is Chance speaking. I really enjoyed when you did Lost in Space Forever in 1998 with Bill
Yeah.
Mumy. And you came back as Dr. Zachary Smith on the set of the Jupiter 2. That
Of
was
course,
great
who
fun.
else?
I beg your pardon?
It was I said, who else would I be, and who else would they have?
Exactly so. And I know they tried to cast you in Star Trek The Next Generation, but you wouldn't have it. I read, nope, my loyalties are to a show called Lost in Space back in the 90s.
Indeed. Pointed ears, indeed.
Wow. That's...
Indeed. I love that.
See, I did not know that. I thought I'd read everything, but no, I did not know that. That's
Down
amazing.
work. He turned down work.
turned
I have an
down-
interview. I don't know if I have time to play it on today's show, but I have an interview that Mr. Harris, who's on the phone with us now, did. We discussed
Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that. So Jonathan, after Lost in Space, I know you've done a lot of cons and things like that. What other activities took up your time?
Gardening. I'm an avid gardener, a cook, and I am known as the king of the voiceover. If you've seen any of Pixar's films, the one about the bug,
Yes.
the little the praying mantis magician, that's myself.
Oh.
I also voiced
It's
the
called Bug.
toy repairman. I did a little series called Space Academy. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but I was originally offered to be the replacement for Benson on Soap.
Oh. How
be doggone.
Oh, my God, I didn't know that. Now,
Robert
Indeed,
Guillaume.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't think anyone could really follow up Mr. Guillaume's work, and I thought there was a danger to me, so I left it alone.
Ah, you're a very smart man, of course. Now, I saw you on a Twilight Zone. I want to say it was a Twilight Zone episode. Wait a minute.
A couple of them.
And I also saw
I did too.
Yes.
The Silence and 22 are the
Yes.
titles of both
Yes,
shows. he did.
indeed.
Yes. And I also saw one, you were with Vincent Price. And you were an
in
art.
General Electric Theater.
Yes.
No.
exactly.
Slits Playhouse of Stars.
Yes. That was,
Dear Vincent.
yes, that was a very good show. I watched that just last week, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I wish it was longer.
Mr. Harris, I have another question for you. I love your accent, and it sounds very regal, very British. But you were born in the Bronx, New York. Did you just create this accent, or what's the story on that?
Yes, indeed. I was born in New York City, and I knew that I was speaking pure New Yorkie. You want to go for some coffee? And I hated it. So I used to attend all of the B British films. Cinema.
That's fantastic.
And I used to listen to the way they would speak, and I said to myself, I'm going to talk like that. And I developed something which is, fortunately for me, not used by anyone else. They better not. And that is the unique sound, the vocal pyrotechnics that you hear now.
Wow. What now was the most difficult thing about doing the Smith character? Was it getting the cadence down? Was it getting the way you said things was so Les Chance said so regal and so prestige. Was that just you, or did you model that after someone?
Well, my style, to give credit where credit is due, is somewhat modeled after Kristen Webb. So my general acting style is somewhat modeled after the great Kristen Webb. Howsoever, I'm quite unique. And as far as old Smith goes, everything you hear, I wrote. Everything as far as the relationship to the robot was all me. I developed many facets to my character. You see, developing a character is an actor's dream.
Yes.
And I had a ball with Dr. Smith. And I loved him then, and I love him still.
And you're a very Shakespearean type formula actor. I love it. And have a question for you. Did you get along with Bobby May, the actor who played the robot?
Bobby May, a strange little man.
But he wasn't
I
a
will
midget.
tell you this. In the beginning, we all felt a deep sense of sympathy for Bobby May, being cooped up in that tiny little bucket, as hot as it was, until we found out that he liked it. You couldn't get enough. You know, he had his dressing room painted silver and his chair painted silver.
Ooh.
I did not know that.
And I understand that there is one segment where you can clearly see Bobby May's fat little legs scurrying around. I haven't seen it myself, but they tell me that it's out there, so I'm sure that it exists.
It is.
And that is the most I'll say to that strange little fart.
Well, Dr. Smith, we really, really, really appreciate you coming to us from beyond the Great Divide and being on the show today. But realistically, we all know that the great Jonathan Harris is gone. And
In 2002.
In 2002.
I knew it.
Yes, see? And this gentleman who has come to us today, his name is Michael Panzerato. I hope I said your name correctly.
Can you spell that, please?
Panzerotto.
So I had it
Thank
written
you.
down right here. And he hails from...
That doesn't help our audience.
Yes, he hails from Maryland. And he also is responsible for the Jonathan Harris fan page there on Facebook.
Wow.
Yes.
What a business.
Well,
Yes.
I'll have to join. I didn't
Yeah,
know
he
you
really is. And John and Mike.
Do you look like him?
He does. He does look.
People say that. I've heard
That's
that.
amazing.
People do say.
Yeah, but I know him and his son. Him and his son do little cameos, little vignettes all the time, and his videos have come up on Facebook and are just
Oh, I
awesome.
gotta see this.
They're just awesome to watch. You just evolve the character even further than it was. He recreates scenes, which are awesome, which are absolutely awesome. And how many followers do you have now on that page? Do you recall? Off the top
I
of your
know
head?
it's in the thousands. I
Yeah.
know that. It's funny because I joined the site as a fan myself.
Right.
Page. as a fan myself, and I started posting my own little bits, and got kindly enough, back then the admin invited me to be an admin.
Oh,
Started
okay.
as a moderator,
Okay.
and then become an admin, and now I'm on a couple of the sites.
Yes, you are.
Lost in
Yes,
Space.
you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
Bill Milne actually likes your rendition of Dr. Smith too, correct?
He's been really kind. I have to say, they're all to meet them, all very sweet.
Yeah.
I only just got to meet I met Jonathan in '97, I think it was.
Okay.
And I was kind of gobsmacked, you know, he's my
Sure you
hero. And I kind of, for a few minutes, just stood there looking at him, and then we talked a little bit. He was really kind. He was really very kind and very interested in what you had to say.
I'll ask the typical question. Did you do your impersonation for him, and what did he say about it?
You know, I didn't.
Oh.
He should have.
It's a huge regret I have, but I thought to myself, you know, I don't want to bore the man. He probably hears it all the time.
Yeah, I bet he does too. I bet he does too.
I did tell him. I thanked him though, because he's the reason I got on. He's the reason I act.
Yes.
The Starlog magazine did an interview with him. I was born after Lost in Space was off the air, so I'm a latecomer. But I read this magazine and I thought that's what I want to do.
So how often did you get into that role? In other words, does a day go by where you don't do Dr. Smith anymore? I mean, because it seems like you're on there an awful lot, which is great for the fans.
Right.
But I mean, do you find yourself in everyday life just going into character, just and just hoping that people will know who you're doing?
In sixth grade, well, my sixth grade year, it came back on the air, and I studied him.
Okay.
I walked, I talked, and all that, and that whole year, I think I talked that way for the most part. And then, but now it's a general. It's kind of ingrained. As you know, Clifton Webb, he was wonderful, and Jonathan patterned his style after Clifton.
Right.
And very much Vincent Price and Jonathan Harris. Some Peter Cushing, definitely.
Right. So you do Vincent Price and Peter Cushing, from what I understand. Is that correct as well, or do you? Well,
no, I wish to God I could do Vincent Price, but his voice is extremely unique, and to be able to impersonate somebody, you've got to have their tone, be a tone similar. So fortunately for me, my tone is close to Jonathan.
It is. It really is.
Vincent Price is, please pass the mustard. He's got a very, very great voice. I wish I could do it, but I can't.
Well, Michael,
how do we find you on the web?
Well, for the Jonathan Harris Adoration Society, the Bill Mumey Appreciation page, I'm on all of those.
Okay.
Anything Lost in Space, usually you'll find me posting something. Very rarely do I put it on my own Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah, very rare. Like when Anthony, my son, and I did what's called a PSA for COVID as Will and Dr. Smith, that I posted.
Right.
But very rarely. Usually I save them for the fan site.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your time, and we truly appreciate all the efforts that you've put into mastering the vocal stylings of Dr. Zachary Smith. Would you like to say something else in your parting words to us as a nostalgic PodBlast? Can you just insult us in your own inevitable way before we part ways?
I'd like to say thank you very much, gentlemen, for having me. It's been a great kick. It knocked me higher than a kite. And remember, never fear, Smith is indeed here.
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael, we'll talk to you soon,
No
my
trouble
friend.
at all.
Okay,
Have a good day.
You too, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
He sounds just like
He sounds just like him.
What a nice guy.
He's a very sweet guy too. He's a very nice guy. Michael Panzerato is his name, and he's,
Lost in Space would not be the same without him.
No, it would not. It's
You
not.
know,
Especially
I used to
episodes
watch it
around.
just to watch him.
Yeah,
But he was supposed to be killed off after episode 5.
Yeah.
What they did was, to your point about how cheap Irwin was, he took the pilot No Place to Hide and cut it up and made 5 regular episodes when it was picked up.
Exactly.
And they shot around it using the footage. My favorite was the Giant, played by Lamar Lundy, a football player. He was in that giant Cyclops costume.
I remember that one.
That's from the pilot, but they shot in episode 4 around that pilot footage called There Were Giants in the Earth. It's one of the best episodes you'll ever see. But there are a lot of firsts on the show. The jetpack, I think that was
It
pre-Thunderball,
was.
James
I
Bond.
think it was too. Yeah.
And it was a great show about survival.
Yeah.
And then what happened was Batman hit the scene on ABC in January 1966,
Right.
midway through the first black and white season of Lost in Space. So they tended to get a little more campy, especially when the show went to color in the
Yeah.
66, 67 season. And it's a shame because the show had great potential. It
But
was
they-
an adventure show that turned into, well, let's face it, kiddie crap. And Irwin Allen, after a while, wouldn't let the leads kiss. He thought it would embarrass the children. If you watch the early episodes,
No
June and Guy
kidding.
are kissing, and they're affectionate. And there's a love storyline with Don and Judy. And then that went out the window
I didn't know.
on Irwin's command because he said it's going to embarrass the kids. And he made the
right.
show silly. So
All
we
right,
got a
from-
clip from the real Jonathan Harris to play in a minute.
Well, I mean, we need to move on. I mean,
No, not from Lost in Space. Hell no. We still got a good bit I want to cover on Lost in Space. I've been waiting a year. By the way, it's our 1-year anniversary of the Nostalgic PodBlast.
Ooh.
Al and
Well-
I started it in
What a
January.
way to celebrate.
In
More
June
Lost in
19,
Space.
June 2019, we started it.
Really?
Yep, June 15th.
2019.
And if you're listening on Fistful of Radio, that's this weekend. So happy anniversary, Al. And then Tom came along in our third show.
Yeah.
We're honored to have Larry here. Here, I'm going to play a clip
So what-
of Jonathan Harris.
So what
Listen
came-
to this interview.
So what?
well, how long is this interview?
It's not long.
So it's the same one I've got.
20 minutes. That's
No,
all.
it's different.
It's a different one than what I've
Just
got.
Well,
20
we got 2 more shows we got to get to.
Yeah, but those shows suck.
Wait. Did you really say those shows suck? All right, here it comes.
I created Lost in Space some 20 years ago. I knew we had something good.
And this is Irwin Allen.
Yep.
But
Irwin
the
Allen.
thought that it become so popular and continue to play all over the world to this very day is still quite amazing to me. On behalf of the many people in front of and behind the camera who made Lost in Space a reality, I'd like to thank you, the fans, for your continuing loyalty. And now, happily, Starlog salutes the 20th anniversary of Lost in Space.
Wow. So,
Oh, that was not the right tape.
but that was Irwin Allen, the Irwin Allen who did all the shows, and he had quite the hairdo. He had the pre-Donald Trump hairdo that the ladies were talking about. He would probably spend a lot of time just doing his hair.
Was his
But he
hair
had a-
orange? Was it orange?
No, it wasn't
I've only
orange.
seen black and white pictures of it.
But he had a horrible voice, didn't he, for a
Yes,
radio
he did.
guy?
He had an absolute.
Starlog
Yeah.
brings you Lost in Space.
Yeah.
We loved him, though.
Well, you know, Irwin Allen also did movies. We haven't talked about yet, really.
Well, before we get there, let me play one quick clip of Jonathan real quick. I don't want to go to the movies just yet. Hang on,
Well,
guys.
we got to we've gone almost an hour.
All right, so we'll hear about so we'll talk about Jonathan Harris one last time. So this is actually Jonathan Harris telling us. I guess he's telling a story, right? Chance. I guess that's what he's doing.
You're talking about what I'm playing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna play that. This is gonna lead into it. This is Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea theme that we played, but this is my favorite version. Check this out. This is from season 4, and then it'll go into Jonathan.
Voyage to the bottom of the sea.
He could have had this queued up.
I know. Isn't this cool though? I love this version of the theme.
And we played it earlier.
I know, but this is not this version. This is my favorite version. It's almost over.
And David Hedison.
As the Cyclops.
Okay, here comes Jonathan and the cast of Lost in Space. I love that. Isn't that a cool theme? Paul Sautel.
Dr. Smith.
Here we go.
I created him, from nothing. He was not meant to be what you ultimately saw. He was meant to be a deep, dark, snarling villain. I didn't find that very palatable. I don't think it's a nice thing to watch every week. A blah kind of man. So I began to sneak in little comedic bits.
In a trice, I shall be ready to fight fire-weight tigers.
Here comes Bill Mooney.
Will really did love Dr. Smith, even though, I was constantly making excuses. Will was constantly making excuses for him to get him out of the frying pan, so to speak.
Dr. Smith gave it to that old mining engineer.
If only I hadn't done it. It's all up with us now because...
I love these clips, too.
On the junk pile. I found it on a central astrogator.
Well, I think you better get right up there and show them what you did.
I can't do it now. I'm strapped in.
Well, then unstrap and get right up there.
And here comes June Lockhart.
For him, even though he did frustrate me a lot. That's
what we sort of played.
Actually, I patterned him on every kid I'd ever known.
Delicious. I'll take some for later. No, William. I was just arranging these lovely things.
The storylines are bizarre and for the most part silly, but the formula works.
June Lockhart dubbed me Crash West because in order for us to have a segment every week on a different planet, we had to land somewhere and we had to crash. And I was the pilot, so I was Crash
Mark
West.
Goddard. It's almost over. That's from the first Color episode, Blast Off into Space, where they lift off from the planet they were stranded on.
I mean,
Andrew Cartwright?
we always had a great time. We loved being drenched by the water and had rocks thrown at us.
Here's the very end.
I got to do wonderful things like push a button and the food all came out already prepared. There now.
Yeah, really. Some of our monsters were fabulous. Wonderful monsters.
I love his scream, don't you? Jonathan. Here's where I am.
My favorite show was something called The Vegetable Rebellion, in which Jonathan played a stalk of celery. And one
You don't find this interesting? You guys are making weird, stupid faces.
Every time anybody
That's
sat
3 now.
down,
You're making stupid faces. I don't. This is interesting, isn't it?
And play it straight to like this guy who was a...
Not Larry. I'm talking about Tom.
Why change Dr. Smith into a stalk of celery?
Not going to
And
answer.
what do you think you're going to do with my parents and Penny and Dawn? Why can't you just be satisfied to be what you are and let us be what we are?
But Lost in Space's 5-year mission ends abruptly in the fall of 1968.
It was never a 5-year mission. The announcer's confused with Star Trek.
Like all of the other episodes, unresolved.
I picked up the New York Times and quickly turned to the television page.
Lost in Space canceled.
I was absolutely aghast.
You know, it was hot.
This is the very
had
end.
romance. It had
Said
drama.
that 10 minutes
it
ago.
had great special effects. It had that fabulous set.
15
The
minutes ago.
music was wonderful. There was such a potential, and it was a wonderful experience for all of us.
And it was a wonderful,
All right.
and it was
That was
wonderful
great.
experience for us.
Let's watch some movies.
Let's watch some movies. Yeah,
So, you know, he did the Time Tunnel and Land of the Giants.
Yes,
but
he did.
They
Yes,
were forgettable TV shows, in my opinion.
Well, I enjoyed Time Tunnel for the time. This is me. It's no pun intended. And Time Tunnel to me was very good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I understand you're saying that, but the Time Tunnel was actually very good. I enjoyed it, and the theme song was really good.
By John Williams.
And most secret project, the Time Tunnel.
It's them just falling through time and space. It's just a good theme. Listen to the theme.
That show gave me epilepsy. Because they had that spinning
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
thing, and it just gave me epilepsy.
No, it really. Now, was this John Williams?
Yes, John Williams.
Excuse me, Johnny Williams.
The Star Wars? John
Yeah,
Williams?
yes.
And Jaws and Superman and Raise the Lost Ark.
Yeah. So basically, we're not going to spend a lot of time on Time Tunnel, obviously, because everyone knows.
One season, 66
Yeah,
67, but it was a good show.
It was
had
a
a
good
bad
show.
time slot. Robert Duvall was in an episode.
Yep.
The first episode took place on board the Titanic, and Irwin Allen directed it, and I brought it on film. Maybe we can watch it. But the pilot was excellent. Rendezvous with Yesterday.
We have a Facebook, Robert Louis Brown. He's had to step away.
Oh.
And then he came back, and he heard Michael doing Jonathan Harris. And he said he bought it. He thought it was Jonathan Harris.
He didn't know he passed away.
No.
No.
That's how good he is.
Yeah. So
That's
good.
how
That's
good
how
he
dumb
is.
he is.
The best Time Tunnel was the one about Pearl Harbor, where Doug and Tony, we didn't really
Yes.
set up the show what it's about. It's supposed to be the year 1968, which was in the future then, 2 years in the future. And they're on the underground desert base, and they experiment with a time machine, and they get lost in time, basically. So
Right.
they wind up each week in a different point in history or the future.
Yeah.
Could have been the past, and Quantum Leap sort of ripped off
Yes,
this
it
whole
did.
concept
Yes, it
years
did.
later in the 90s.
Well, time travel.
Very successful show, by the way, Quantum Leap.
Yeah, which ran a lot more longer than that. But
Certainly.
But it came on Friday nights after the Green Hornet, which you used to watch, right, Larry?
Yes, when I was a child.
No, wait a minute.
I stopped in the 60s.
Oh, really? So you haven't seen one since?
No, I'd like to, but I haven't seen one.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have one? Do you have one in the
he
screening
probably
room?
does.
Not here. Do you have one, Al?
I can't believe in all those films you have no Green Hornets.
I had some in the past.
Yeah, you did.
You sold them?
I had about 4 or 5.
But it was
I sold
James Darren as
They
Tony
turned
Newman.
red. I got rid
Yes,
of them.
Yes, that's what happens.
All
to-
my prints are red.
Yeah, they turned
Are they really?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's sad.
I call my film storage room the vinegar room.
Oh, no. Are you smells like vinegar?
Oh.
Don't worry, it's okay. Nobody's dying. No, a little bit, but
Yeah, a
that's
little
the
bit.
nature of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to, if I had the money, what I'd do is get everything 4K digitized, but that's expensive.
It's expensive.
For the layman, what happens, what we call vinegar syndrome, is when a film print starts to literally smell like vinegar because the chemicals in the color process
breaking
are
down.
breaking
It
down.
just breaks
and the
down.
Film
Yeah.
print, the film stock, right?
I'd like to start a GoFundMe to 4K my collection.
Well, for film people, it's usually acetate film that goes bad. The Mylar stock does not go bad.
Yeah, but it still turns red.
It
Still
turns
turns
red.
red.
I have a lot of
Yeah, it will turn
acetate.
red.
My stuff's from most of my stuff's from the 70s.
It's
I brought a
acetate,
few
it's
60.
acetate.
Yeah.
Acetate. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to screen some films after this.
I
yeah.
think it's just the film companies just saving money on the chemicals, and they didn't process it properly.
Well, they didn't care because they made those batch syndication prints. And they were designed to show a couple times and destroy.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
you're
what
not going to
supposed
spend
do.
a lot on Mylar and all kinds of dyes.
How rare is it to find a fellow film collector? I can't believe when Al told
It's
me
rare.
you, Larry, collect film. I think
That's how I met Larry back in the
That was the
Cumulus
first
days.
one I ever met. I couldn't believe it. Like there's a whole.
When Larry
subculture.
was on the regular guy, somebody said, well, Larry Wachs collects films, and that's how we met. At the
And that's
radio
96
station.
Rock in Atlanta and Rock 100.5 in
That's
Atlanta
right.
radio.
That's
I mean,
right.
Larry is a broadcast professional, and we're honored
That's
to
right.
have him here.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Atlanta's #1 extra.
And yet,
your sideline.
That's
which-
right.
I'd
Atlanta's
love to have you-
#1 extra.
and yet he's here.
I'd love to have him back on the show.
Now that you put it that way, what am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and by the way, he's right next to the door. So what does that tell you?
You can make a quick escape.
I'm kidding. Anyway, so James Darren was Tony Newman. Robert Colbert played Dr. Doug Phillips.
And James Darren's a great singer.
He was.
He still
And
sings.
he still looks
he
good.
does club. He still does clubs and stuff.
What was his big hit? I'll pull it up.
What was his big hit?
Mac the
15
Fork.
seconds.
Mac
No.
the Fork.
Not Venus, but what was his...
No, Frankie Avalon did
No,
Venus. James Darren did the song "Goodbye, Cruel World, I'm off to join the circus."
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Remember
not going
that?
to waste time
No,
finding that. That's not...
Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
So Tom Tunnel was,
I'm a little younger.
was concluded after.
Well, I was a child
I'm
when
only
it came
42, so.
Look, I'm
out. I'm
trying.
a little bit older than you.
I'm trying to bring the train back on the tracks.
All right.
30 episodes. That's all it was.
Yeah.
30
Of Time Tunnel.
30 episodes. But back then they did 30 episodes. These days they do 12, 18,
22,
22
at the most.
The numbers are different. Depends on what the budget is, to be honest with you. Do you remember the show Rendezvous with Yesterday?
That's the pilot of The Time Tunnel.
There you
and
go.
I brought it on film.
Thank you.
Directed by
What?
Irwin Allen.
That's
Yes.
right. It was a good
Sky.
one.
I mentioned it.
What about the day the sky fell down?
That's the Pearl Harbor episode I
Yes.
referenced. That's the best one
Yes,
where,
it is.
where Tony meets his dad.
Father,
He goes,
yes.
meets his father. Lyndon Childs plays his father, if
Yeah.
you know who that is.
Yes.
And that's a very moving episode. It's actually one of the better written episodes.
Yeah. Now, ironically though, even though Al said that it wasn't his favorite show, it was Irwin Allen's favorite show.
Really?
Yes, it was his favorite. It was his favorite.
I love
show.
the Billy the Kid episode with Robert Walker Jr. playing Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
Great episode.
Yep. It was.
Because they had Western themes. I think Carol O'Connor was in one before, of course, Archie
geez.
Bunker.
Yeah.
Oh, can I call in as a Archie Bunker
Yeah,
imitator?
go ahead. Wait.
That
who's
sounds
that-
pretty damn
who's
good,
that,
Larry.
Who's that on the phone, Al?
Oh, jeez, there, read it. Listen to these guys go on and on about Lost in Space.
With endless clips. Ah, here's Land of the Giants, John Williams music.
And then there was, and then in 1968 in September came Land of the Giants
On ABC.
on ABC.
Giant kitty cat.
I'm glad the Jeffersons ain't in space.
I'm wide open here, Al.
Slow it in.
Thank you. Now bring it down. So, Land of the Giants, tell us a little bit about that, Mr. Chance Martels.
Well, it lasted really 3 years, but in terms of seasons, 2. What I mean by that is they started shooting episodes in 1967 that didn't air for a year later.
Yeah.
And what it is, it takes place in the year 1983. Get this, it's so futuristic, right?
That
It takes
is
place
very
in
futuristic.
1983, and they're on a flight from New York to London, and they encounter some sort of space warp, and it takes them to another planet where they're tiny. And the Giants, and it's like a totalitarian...
What year was it?
1968.
Yeah.
Oh, and the year 1983 is when
That's
it's
what
supposed to be.
take it.
But
But it
where
was
did the
shot in
warp
68.
take 'em?
To the same year, just an
Same year.
alternate universe, alternate world. Yes, 1983. And the crazy thing is, they're not as technologically advanced. The
Yeah,
Giants.
they're stupid.
And it's a totalitarian government. I mean, they're really
Yeah.
bad guys. And in the beginning, they didn't even speak.
It's
They
like
didn't.
giant Antifa.
Yeah.
Well, they're more like Nazis. It's a terrible,
Antifa.
terrible government
Right.
that they have.
Giant
it's
Nazis.
It's socialism.
Nazis.
And
Socialism.
it was, and I was gonna say the son, Stefan. The son is actually the younger brother of the girl who went on to be on Little House on the Prairie, Nellie. Remember
Oh,
Nellie?
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
annoying. Anyway, little
Yeah.
side note, but Ingram, Stefan Ingram, he played the child, and it was just so I can't speak.
Formulaic.
Formalistic, is that the word? There you go.
Formulaic.
Yes, because it's just
Or
like
formulistic.
It's like Gilligan's Island and Lost in Space.
Expialidocious.
It's like Gilligan's Island or Lost in Space, where they have 7 cast members.
Yes.
What's the deal with 7? Same with Land of the Giants.
It's a lucky
Lost-
number.
Plus,
It's a
they got
budget
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a budget thing. They
Yes.
got him for a song and a dance.
It's
Yeah.
always 7, and the Fitzhugh character was another Dr. Smith
Listen,
on Land of the Giants.
If
He's
you're on a
just like-
socialistic planet, you have quotas.
Yeah,
That's the way
exactly.
it goes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
well, the aliens didn't, like I said, they spoke in a foreign tongue in the beginning, but then later the writers realized, shoot, we got to make
Nobody
this more
speaks
adaptable
that.
to the audience. Yeah,
Right.
it would be like sounds like come back. They had weird, distorted sounds.
It's like a foreign
and they got
film,
rid
and
of
if
that.
you remember back in the 60s, people didn't like foreign films. Because you know why? They were made by foreigners.
And it reminded them of Jerry Lewis
Xenophobes.
because only the French like Jerry Lewis.
Right. Because he played a retard.
Yes, that's right. That's correct.
I mean,
He
that's
pretty
why he
much
was
did.
popular.
Yeah, that's,
We
If
have
he
a
played a normal person, he wouldn't have been.
guy on Facebook, Mark. He said that Larry had the best line in the whole show today.
what's that?
Yes, yes, yes. When I was a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it derogatorily, because
Yeah,
I do
right.
watch
It's funny,
these.
though.
I know.
There's certain shows I watched as a child. Like I have a collection of Flintstones episodes.
I love the Flintstones.
Yeah, who doesn't like the Flintstones? I have Brady Bunch episodes. I didn't mean to imply that I was saying that you people are children, although, you know, sometimes we all
Yes,
are
we
like
are.
children.
Yeah.
Well, this is a time capsule,
Yeah,
so
I
we
mean,
kind of live in
listen,
the past.
You're acting like a kid, but you're enjoying yourself. There's nothing wrong with this.
That's true. That's true.
There's nothing wrong with this.
Well, the
You
one
have listen, what I like about all you guys, that you have passion for what you're interested in, and you research it, and you know it, and you talk about it. It doesn't matter if millions of people are interested in it. You guys like what you do, and you just get a lot of joy out of it. There's nothing better than watching somebody who's in the middle of joy, but there's a limit to my time.
Larry, I
with
appreciate
he
that.
puts the mic down and leaves the room.
Mic drop.
Well, from Irwin Allen's TV shows, he made movies.
Well, he did, but he had one more TV show which was not, which we won't talk in Duty Squad about.
We can't even
because
find a
don't
clip
have
of
anything.
it.
But it was Swiss Family Robinson in 74, 75.
I vaguely remember
with
that.
Martin Milner.
Yeah.
You know who Martin Milner
From
was,
Adam
right?
12.
Yeah, from Adam 12.
Oh, yeah.
And Route
Kevin McCord.
66.
But if you
Route
look,
66,
at
yes.
the picture on Internet Movie Database, it shows a
Marty
picture of
Miller.
all of them, and Helen Hunt as a child. Is
Helen
one of
Hunt?
the yes.
Wow.
She looks
Helen
like Mark
Hunt.
Richt.
Yes.
She does.
and you remember Cameron Mitchell, the Western star?
Yeah.
He was in it too.
Marty
So-
Milner. Let me tell you
I
about
think
me
he
and
was
Marty
married to
Milner.
Dinah Shore.
Me and Marty Milner went down to the Playboy Mansion one time, and boy, oh boy, these broads were hot, hot to trot.
They were ready to go.
Me and Marty Milner were sitting there in the grotto. He was getting flinkled, and I was getting flankled. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Flamizzled, flamazzled.
I have to add one
My
thing about
MK
Irwin.
Ultra is kicking in.
About Irwin. Okay, I respect him, and he was a cheap producer, but he produced some good stuff. But
His name was Irwin. Of course, he was cheap.
he wasn't on the level, though, of a Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, or a Rod Serling, who created Twilight Zone. In that, he didn't really have anything to advance the dialogue or advance black people in terms of roles.
But
I don't remember
think
seeing
about
an
it,
African American in
but
any of the
Irwin-
shows.
Because they weren't popular in the 60s.
Irwin
I
Allen
know, but
is still going to be
it's the
remembered
60s.
for
he
what,
will,
you know.
and he's not bad. I'm not knocking him, but
yeah.
I'm saying he's not on the level of a Gene Roddenberry or a Rod Serling, because Rod Serling had scripts like Big Tall Wish and Twilight Zone about a boxer, African American. I mean, really heartfelt scripts that I thought really talked about real things. And I liked how in Star Trek Gene Roddenberry had a black woman as a major officer in Uhura, the
Wouldn't it be
communications
wild
officer.
if the Space Force, you know, the Space Force that was just launched, you know, we're going to go to Mars pretty soon, I think. Wouldn't it be wild if Mars was populated with black people? White people would lose their minds.
That'd be cool.
Change everything.
We could send Chance to Mars.
It's too hot, man.
Hey, it's too hot up here.
Yeah,
But
you know what I'm saying to you here.
But getting back to Irwin, I think his biggest theatrical feature was Towering Inferno.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, it won the Academy Award in '75 for cinematography. And I liked that movie a lot.
Yeah, it was.
You know, I remember going to the theater and standing in line to wait to.
Was that in Sense Around?
No, that was Earthquake.
Earthquake
and a
I went
movie
to see
called
that.
Roller Coaster was in Sense Around.
I remember Sense Around was the special. I mean, they made a big deal about it, and it was only in so many theaters because they had to retrofit each theater with these giant woofers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was Midway. Was that way?
Midway.
Earthquake was that way.
Yeah. Charlton
But
Heston.
this is the theme from Towering Inferno. We'll just talk under it.
By John Williams.
By John Williams. It was a great theme. Of course, you'll hear a helicopter because it's from the soundtrack. Anyway.
It was a long movie, 2 hours and 45 minutes. My lord.
It was.
It's a Titanic-sized movie.
I have a clip here I want to play.
Is this OJ?
between Paul Newman and
All right.
William Holden.
All right.
Okay, good.
Let's listen to this.
Listen to it.
Good.
Died 20 minutes ago. Oh, I wonder how many more will be dead by tomorrow. I thought we were building something where people could work and live and be safe. If you had to cut costs, why didn't you cut floors instead of corners? Now listen. Any decisions that were made for the use of alternate building materials were made because I, as a builder, have a right to make those decisions. If I remain within the building code, and goddammit, I did. Building code, come on, Dunk. I mean, that's a standard cop-out when you're in trouble. I was crawling around up there. I mean, duct holes weren't fire-stopped. Corridors without fire doors in it, sprinklers won't work. And an electrical system that's good for what? I mean, it's good for starting fires. Whew, boy, where was I when all this was going on? Because I'm just as guilty as you and that goddamn son-in-law of yours. What do they call it when you kill people?
Wow.
Powerful clip.
Wow, corruption.
That language
Building
in there.
code.
Building code. William Holden, he built the tower. You know.
Back
Yes,
then,
I
we
know.
builders called things goddamn terrible. That's how we talked.
This is the trailer.
Race against time as one tiny spark becomes a night of blazing suspense. The Towering Inferno.
It's out of control. It's coming your way.
It's out of control. It's coming your way.
Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox present Irwin Allen's production of The Towering Inferno.
A movie so big it took 2 film companies to put it out.
Yeah, big money.
Was that because Irwin worked for Fox and then he went to Warner Brothers?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know why, you know, but
He
it was
left Fox and went to Warner Brothers.
it was a
around that time.
co-production.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to what Irwin had to say about the film itself.
All right.
It was an involved picture in that it had a number of units. There was the special effects unit, there was the action unit,
I'm
there
wide
was the
open.
principal photography unit, and each of these had to be designed carefully so that, one, they would stand up by themselves, and that they could be properly blended one to another. I looked for the best of the effects people, and Bill Abbott, who's been with me for almost 20 years and has won, I guess 8 Academy Awards for special effects, was my #1 choice because we knew there were going to be an unusual amount of effects. I chose John Gilliman as the director to work with me because of the work that John had done. My art director was Bill Creeber, who had done such a magnificent job on the Poseidon Adventure. Had I mentioned that before, the Poseidon Adventure? A little project of ours, which is still among the top 16, just below your 15, of worldwide biggest grosses of all time. And there was a relationship. Turning a modern steamship upside down was kind of first cousin of setting fire to the world's tallest building. So Bill Creeber, who had worked on that, as did Bill Abbott and a number of the other people that went with me on Towering Inferno, were chosen because of the great work they did there. I picked myself to not only be the producer, but to do the so-called action unit directing. It's something I particularly enjoy, and I guess must do pretty good, otherwise they wouldn't have allowed me to do it. And we all worked very well together. The end result was the Towering Inferno.
Well, so now I hear it.
Wow. What a great speaker Irwin is.
He was a great enunciator of words, wasn't he?
About to put me to sleep, but I like that clip. I'm not being disrespectful to the clip. It was interesting information. I just thought that his delivery, he's so boring.
His delivery kind of sucked, didn't it? But
it's like the worst college professor of all time.
Yeah, it was. But I've got another clip of Ern's, but I don't want to belabor.
No, go ahead. What is it? Is it pertaining to?
It's pertaining to Towering Inferno, but he had a lot of stories about.
Is it Ernest Borgnine?
Well, I've got Ernest Borgnine too, but the Towering Inferno was one of his bigger movies that he enjoyed doing as well. And here's also something he had to say about it. Like, we really care.
The Poseidon Adventure started the entire disaster genre, and obviously we were all frantically looking for other projects of a similar nature. I read a book called The Tower, and I was fascinated by it, and attempted to buy it, but there was no way to get the book because it had already been sold elsewhere. I finally read a book called The Glass Inferno. The oddest thing happened. It may have been the very first time in the entire history of the publishing business. The two books were exactly the same. Same characters, same situations, the same disaster. What happens the night of the celebration of the opening of one of the world's largest buildings, if indeed not the tallest building, and there's a terrible calamity in the form of a fire, and the 300 or 400 guests who have been invited are all locked off in the penthouse.
Ooh.
I attempted to buy the glass tower.
Penthouse.
I succeeded in doing so, and then suggested that Warner Brothers and Fox, where I was at the time, join forces and make one single motion picture. Turned out pretty good.
There it is.
As of this moment in time, the picture's already grossed over $200 million worldwide box office.
That was back then. That's quite a astounding figure for back then. So now Ernest Borgnine was part of the Poseidon Adventure, which is what he has alluded to in some of these clips. So let's real quick, Al, if you want to, let's listen to what Ernie Borgnine had to say, because he apparently doesn't like taking showers.
Ooh,
he doesn't like getting wet. He doesn't like getting wet.
I tell you, it was a hard one. First of all, it was all very well at the beginning, and getting all this thing and doing all this, making characters and stuff like that, and going along, and we were having a gay time on New Year's Eve, and here we go, and suddenly we're, bam, turned over. And what do you do? It got rough. It got to the point where we had to take a shower just before walking into the set, because you had to be wet. And it wasn't the nicest of things. It was almost a wonderful way to finish a day, to come out and smell the smog out there in the Los Angeles area, because you're smelling smog all day long out there in the middle of that set.
It's better than smelling your armpits.
It wasn't the easiest thing in the world by any means, and of course we used to get on each other's nerves. I'm sure somehow or other we did, but so Shelley was playing cards with one most wonderful actor, and I can't remember their names now, unfortunately, but and so she lost about $260,000 to this man, but
Oh
That
God!
was part of the
Whom she
script.
never paid. No.
No. It was for
it's
real.
Off the set, you know.
And Shelley Winters were talking.
Shelley Winters. But
Wow, that's great.
The Shelley Winter
the
from
yes.
the New Talk 106.7
Oh yeah, that same one.
in
same
Atlanta,
person,
Georgia.
Same one.
Okay. And WSB weekend host.
Well, Irwin Allen did a lot of things. He did a lot of movies and he did a lot of TV shows. And he was one busy guy. He kept a lot of Hollywood actors busy. He kept a lot of technicians busy. And he was very loyal to his crew and his actors. You would see the same actors and the same crew people on every production of his, which was very good of him that he would think of his people in that way. And he was very generous to them. He would give them nice Christmas gifts, etc. He'd remember their anniversaries and their birthdays. So it was pretty nice. I mean, you hear he's cheap, but at the same time, he remembers.
You might be hard to get around. I'll show it to you after.
He remembers all the people around
And
him.
he used his wife too. She was in every season of Lost in Space, going back to Lost in Space. Sheila Matthews is his wife's name, his widow. And she played different roles in Lost in Space. She played an Earth woman in a black and white episode, a Christmas episode, holiday episode, where Will goes back to Earth. He's transported with a beam on Christmas Day.
So
anyway,
when did he die? When did he die now?
Irwin?
Yeah. So he died in 1991. If I'm
He
not
died in
mistaken.
November
Of 91,
2nd,
right?
I think.
Was
yeah.
it 91?
Yeah, 1991.
Yeah. So did he have an ailment or did he just die of old age?
Just old age.
Ladies on the phone. I did the Poseidon Adventure in 1974. I hired O.J. Simpson. Before he murdered anyone, I had no idea he would go on to do that. Had any inkling he would have done that.
Now, Mr. Allen, did you know that he murdered anyone prior to that time, though?
I recall he once assaulted my daughter at the pool when I wasn't looking. I brought him out for an interview, and he assaulted my daughter. That's what she says. I can't prove it, but there were some ligature marks on her neck.
Well, there you go. There's the tall tale signs right there. And of course, OJ. Never mind. We will not keep that going. I don't think so, Mr. Allen. If you'd be so kind.
And Marty Milner was had his way with my wife, I believe.
Oh gosh. Oh. Al, what else would you like to close with?
I have a parting mark too about our contest, but you guys go ahead.
Sure.
I've got to plug our contest, but you go first and just.
I don't have
signal
any.
to me.
I'm just. I guess one more thing for me. I'm glad to see everybody getting somewhat back to normal after Corona and all this other stuff, and I'm seeing more cars on the road, and I'm just that makes me feel.
Well,
better.
I don't enjoy seeing all the traffic.
Well, I don't have to get out in it like you do.
Yeah, that's true.
I want normalcy.
I
I'm
do too.
standing up for. I want the clock to go back to 1975.
I agree. I agree.
Why that year?
I don't know. It was just a good year. No, 76. That was the first
Spirit
year.
of 76.
76. I'd like
And I was
to go
living
back.
on the beach in '76.
Bruce Jenner was a
Yeah.
man. He was winning gold medals, and things were just normal.
Did you see that picture on the internet of Howard Cosell's in the middle? On one side of him is O.J. Simpson, and on the other side is Bruce Jenner. And this is a real photograph.
Right, and nobody
Who would have ever
Right.
thought that?
What happened to these people?
Who would have ever thunk it?
Everybody's a criminal on television now. Everybody's a criminal in politics. Everybody's a criminal.
Well, yeah.
COVID-19 was bullcrap. It turned out to be.
Al, you know what time it is? You know what time it's for? What time it is now?
Time.
Wow.
To dance.
I did not know that.
Now, did you know that there's a museum in Korea? I think they've got one in Japan too. It's a poop museum.
Oh,
a poop museum.
A poop
A
museum.
poop museum.
It has different size poops.
I guess so. I just wanted to say that. I thought it was
museum.
important because I didn't know
Larry,
that.
did you know that there was a poop
Larry,
museum?
did you know that?
Holy shit, no.
Chance, did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, wow. It's Al.
Shitload of info there.
Al, I think
Where is this, in Japan?
well, Japan and Korea. Al, I think there's a sample that you could probably send that's in there somewhere.
What is their snack bar like?
do,
I wonder?
On the poop deck.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else got an I don't know? I didn't know? little thing they want to throw up? Before
No, but where's your Corona update music? Is that not ready?
Well, yeah, I've got
Do we
that.
have Corona music?
What we do?
Yeah, you haven't heard it yet. Our audience hasn't heard it. Listen to
No,
this.
we've got Corona right here, right here on the old boob tube.
This special edition of Nostalgic PodBlast.
That's not it.
Studio audience.
Oh, that's not it. That's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one. But it says COVID. I don't know. I just go by what the label says.
And he always gives me a hard time when I'm behind the board.
Well, I know.
We are so not ready for live.
We're so not ready.
I'm kidding.
I like this though.
Speak for yourself, Chance Bartell. Oh, I've got one for Chance right here.
Chance, this is your conscience speaking.
Yes.
What's that?
You are being a little too loud. Please stop.
Okay.
That's just for you, Chance.
Just when we do go to Mars,
Yep.
if I won't be around, but I hope they send Chance.
Oh, that's nice.
You don't like him? You don't like
I
him?
like him every other day. How's that?
What about today?
He's okay today.
We announced a contest last week.
He's very interested in Lost in Space.
That's one of my favorite shows. I
He's
never
a-
grew
he-
out of that
he's a-
phase, I
he's-
guess.
he's a Lost
I
in
am
Space
lost in
geek.
space. Yeah.
You are.
I literally am lost in space with my
Did
development.
they ever
as a
get
human
out of
being.
there? Did they ever come back?
No, there never was a final episode because the show was
Still up
abruptly
there.
canceled. Yeah, except for Lost in Space Forever that I referenced in '98. They did resolve it, but that was a low budget, straight to DVD thing with Jonathan Harrison.
Well,
Bill
at least they
Mumy.
got him out of there.
Yeah, they got him
Resolved it.
but not an actual final episode.
Yeah.
So our contest. Am I potted up, guys?
You ready?
I know he's got to turn me up. I'm ready whenever.
Yeah, whenever you want to do it.
I can't hear it.
Well, that's because of I see a commercial playing.
No, it ain't no commercial. It's what I want.
Okay. Well,
Here we go. I'm sorry, it's my bad. Of course.
I see a commercial playing. That's why.
All right, for our first anniversary, we're giving away first seasons on DVD. So you're going to have a DVD player or a Blu-ray player, and we're giving away this set.
Right here. This
Show it
set.
to me. Give it to me, and I'll show it to everybody.
Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh, yeah!
Hold that up for the camera, Al. So, this is all based on something Al said in last week's show. Al had said, don't give it away, Al, but you had mentioned a trip to California you made in the early 1970s, right?
That is correct.
The first
1972.
person to comment
What
on
happened?
Facebook or call us with the answer
They don't know what number to
wins
call.
the set. Well, they can call us now at 678.
Well, they can send a message
What's
on Facebook.
the phone number, Al? Or Facebook, I said that.
Anybody
What's the
know
phone number?
678-615-7560.
Okay, here's the question. Who did Al say he met? A famous person at a gas station when he was
I
in
know.
California. No, you're
Powell?
disqualified. No.
Who?
You're ineligible.
Who did you
No,
meet?
no. They
What?
got to listen. It was in last week's show.
Oh.
And I know some people are listening. If you want this set, and it actually is very entertaining. This is the one where Brenda loses her virginity in this season.
Oh.
With Dylan.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
okay.
it's hot
Yeah.
stuff. Shannon Doherty, who's
Shannon
still alive.
Doherty.
Rest in peace, Dylan McKay. Because he died, of course.
Died of
Actor that played
COVID-19.
If you know now, give us a call at 678-615-7560 or send us a message on our Facebook.
That's
page.
right. Who did Al meet at the gas
Yes.
station? Famous person. He told the story
On
last
the
week.
Nostalgic PodBlast.
The
page.
gas station attendant.
No, it's a
No.
famous person
No,
that he ran into.
Was it Eddie Haskell?
No, I don't think it was Eddie
No.
Haskell. No.
He was driving a red Corvette.
He was driving a record.
Prince.
No
No,
more hits,
no.
Al.
Wasn't Prince.
No more hits.
I never will forget
Oliver-
it.
And we
I'll
have
I'll
other
tell you
first
after the
season
show.
sets.
Oliver Wendell Harding. No.
No, I'm not.
Are
that
you any?
old.
Are you?
I'm not that old.
Are you any relation to Oliver Wendell?
No,
Harding?
he spells it Hardy. I spell it Hardee.
Well, how do you know that
You're the burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hair.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have some relationship. You kind of look like him.
Yeah.
You're kind of portly. No,
Wait
not
a
really.
minute.
Not really. You've lost. You've lost.
Don't tell me portly. Look at you.
I'm looking fine.
Yeah.
I remember when you were a lot skinnier.
All right.
You
Guys are
guys
fighting.
watching in the CBS movie of the week
Kill
tonight?
each other.
If you're listening live, is Grease Sing Along. I like the
Hey.
CBS movie of the week. Last week got preempted, by the way, by CBS Atlanta. They showed protest footage for 3 hours instead of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
That's wonderful.
which I have on Blu-ray, but I like to watch with the rest of the country. I'm a geek like that. If it's a movie I really like, I like to watch it.
They
Now
had to make a choice.
I'll slow the feed so I don't have to watch the commercials, you know. I'll DVR it so I can zap past the
They
ads.
said, look, anybody can see Indiana Jones, but very few people have access to protest footage. It's not being shown on any other channel. Let's go with that. That's what the reasoning was behind that decision.
Great program.
And I think it's a great one.
That's great.
Because without CBS 46, I would not have known
WGCL.
I have one more
About
thing.
the-
Can I add it real quick?
Absolutely. It's your
I'm,
show.
I'm really
Our-
ticked at A&E for dropping Live PD.
Oh, I am too. That is ridiculous.
What?
One of my
Big
favorite-
moneymaker.
It's the #1 show on cable TV.
They've canceled it until this stuff gets over with.
Well, I think that's why. Yeah, because
but
they have
it
big
shows the
competition.
cops in a good light.
That's why
They
you
were
can't
sh-
do that.
you
That's
can't-
not the goal of TV now is to show cops in a terrible light. So they achieve their utopia of a no police America. So having Live PD on showing them in a good light would not achieve that agenda, as you know, Agenda 21.
Right,
Now,
I
you know
love
about
that show. But
I'm so disappointed by
I'm
that
sure
decision.
Mike Brooks told you about this.
No,
I
no,
heard
we
about
found
it.
out on our own because they've been on vacation 2 weeks and they were supposed to come back June 5th, which was Friday night, and then it wasn't on. And they made an announcement saying we're just going to put the show on hold. It's the #1. Can you imagine being an advertiser and the #1
Hey,
rated
Keith.
show in cable is shelved over? Why? Because it shows police serving the
Because
community.
whoever's in charge of television, and there's like 5 people who are in charge of all of television, they have decided that for the next year, no good shows about cops ever.
That's right.
We wouldn't want people liking cops.
I
It's
even-
too politically
I even
risky.
think
Larry, you know who owns A&E, don't you? Comcast, NBC,
George
Universal.
Soros owns
Well, it's Comcast.
the
so-
Chinese.
Yeah.
Does that
own-
mean that MeTV won't run Adam 12 anymore?
That's what I was going to say.
No.
They're taking them
Well,
12
Adam
off.
12,
and,
we'll take that one off too.
Dragnet is reduced to a Roku app. You can't, it's sad, but that's the way it is. You can't show any good cop movies anymore.
That's sad.
That's
Unreal.
real sad.
It'll be over in 2020.
Yeah, Gerard got arrested for the fugitive thing, and it's just bad. It's just a bad scene, man.
Beg your pardon, Gerard?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Philip Gerard on the fugitive?
Yeah. He got some type of sting operation. He was recently.
Barry Morse is dead.
Well, that's why he got arrested. Yeah.
He's
May
being,
I,
he's being funny.
May I give a plug before we leave?
Yes,
the
of
video?
course.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to invite everybody to listen to something that's very nostalgic and more recent, but very powerful and impactful. The Regular Guys Review Podcast. Now, what I've done is taken archival material, plus interviews and narration and the stories behind the bits of the legendary Regular Guys show, of which I was a part of for many years here in Atlanta. And we tell the stories, and it's jam-packed with clips and bits. And I'm working on episode 11, which deals with the origin. It's the Origins episode. You know what I'm talking about when I say Origins.
Right.
You guys know about Origins. Tell about the origins of the Regular Guys with special guest interviews with Tim Conway Jr. Jimmy Kimmel makes an appearance. About those days. Eric Von Hessler will be speaking.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's Eric Von Hessler on there.
He's
I
not
love
participating, but he's going to be in it, whether he likes it or not.
There you
so.
go. He probably
And he
won't.
doesn't, but that's okay. Also, Walter, the great Walter Sabo, who is a legendary broadcaster, he's in on the fun. So that's not going to be out for a little while. I'm still working on it, but all 10 other episodes. We have the 9/11 show on there. We have how we got kicked off the air for airing porn. We have we have the actual segments where we got kicked off the air for taping Mexicans in a bathroom.
Wow.
The whole
It's a family
story.
show now.
I remember that.
It's the real story, like nobody else could tell it, and it's a great chronicle of American radio. What happened to it through the '90s? It reached a peak, and then it crashed, and it goes into why that happened, and you'll like it. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Play. It's on. I don't know if it's on Google Play, but it's on wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Yeah.
Go to regularguys.com and you can see pictures and all the audio, and it's a really fun trip through nostalgia, and I appreciate you guys having me.
I
on.
love your show. I loved it. I listened to it then, and I like that you actually took calls, unlike Eric today. He doesn't take calls.
He doesn't?
On SB. I don't. No phone calls.
I
Man.
don't
So,
know.
are you on Facebook with that?
Yeah, there's a Regular Guys Review Facebook page too,
Good
so you
deal.
can go
Good
there.
deal.
So
Excellent,
All the
excellent.
you'll find all the, but it's 10 episodes so far, and it's a deep dive onto the real story of American media.
That's fantastic.
The 9/11 show is the one I'm most interested in of all.
Yeah.
What you just described. That's going to be cool.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Will you come back again?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
I had a
great.
good time. I want to watch more movies though.
Like, you don't get paid, right?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you don't get paid. Yeah,
Al told me I would get
What did Al
parties.
tell you? Al, what did you
No,
tell
wait a
him?
minute, wait a minute.
Al, you were supposed to tell him you were supposed to get money.
No, I told him.
I don't get
you
money.
said you were a big time
hold on.
director,
Hold on.
TV director.
Hold on.
Chance, this is all your fault.
And then you were going to pay him.
Al
You told
said-
me you were going to pay him.
Al said I should get. I would get stock in Hardee's hamburgers.
Hardy Vision.
That turned out to be a flat out lie.
He gets stock in Hardy Vision Incorporated.
No, Larry, it's been great. I'm glad you showed up today, and I'm glad you were here. And we're going to
Thank you,
we're
Larry.
going to go watch some films downstairs.
Al's screening room is unbelievable. I got to go down there. It's
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Make
Thank
some
you.
popcorn, Al.
All
And
right.
where's your
Well-
fox fin?
Well, we'll see you next time.
Yeah,
that
we could
get
do one
together.
next week on film collecting, or we can do one on Alfred Hitchcock. We'll figure it out. We've got a bunch of
figure it
topics
out.
we want to cover.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can do that, or
our
we
MOGULS
can also
series.
play.
Stay tuned for some exciting scenes from our next week's episode.
So our next week episode, thanks to the robot. Go ahead. What was it going to be? 16mm collecting?
Why not? If Larry's available, whenever we do it, I want Larry to be a part of it because he's a film
We'll-
collector. We
we'll
can talk
fig-
about
we'll
how
fig-
you find
we'll figure
film.
it out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll
And for
figure
the
it out.
We'll figure it
layman,
out.
we'll explain the
All
hobby.
right, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. This is Tom.
And Chance.
And me.
And don't
Al.
step on down power lines.
That's right.
Larry.
Thanks for listening and watching. Bye. We are done.
Oh, you didn't play the thing?
Hello.
Hello, call. Hello. So wait a minute. Who is this calling, please? Who is this?
This is Jonathan Harris or Dr. Zachary Smith.
Ooh,
Great Beyond. It's
From the-
Jonathan Harris.
It's right.
Otherwise known
Man.
as Doc. Turn it back on. A little bonus. We got to start watching film because Larry's got a roll. He said by 7.
Let me say this.
So-
Hang on.
Okay.
This is PodBlast 28, isn't it?
Yes, PodBlast 28, Irwin Allen. I don't think I did Lost in Space justice. I'm upset with myself, but we can
You
cover it
didn't.
another time.
No, you didn't.
Because we didn't talk about the. I wanted to point out that
Yes, you did.
the sets.
you did.
What was cool is on separate sound stages. You know, it looked like they went through a fake set of stairs.
May I have some hand sanitizer?
Yes, this is rubbing alcohol.
I have hand sanitizer in there too.
I just don't think I did a good enough thorough job at.
I think it was fine.
Nah,
Yeah, just-
I had more interviews and stuff, but
It wasn't.
you guys didn't
It's
really
fine.
seem interested.
Everybody liked it.
Huh?
Everybody on Facebook.
Hope they did. Thank you. We do it for them and for ourselves, right? It's like Larry said, we're not after millions of people. We do this for us because we're collectors and we're geeks.
And then what we do, Tom's got a nice setup at his house too. So one week we do it here, next week we do it at his house. We kind of alternate back and forth.
That's right.
It's a slightly bigger room.
It's a little bit bigger room.
I'm just fascinated, Al, that you got this radio station level equipment in this room, and then you got a movie theater in your basement with all this stuff.
That's what I showed you. This is my internet station.
Oh, oh, you had an internet radio station.
Yeah.
We just
Alexa,
need-
play ALS plays.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
is
Alexa,
this?
play ALS plays on TuneIn.
Oh, for the camera. Hold up, my robot.
I'll play pop standards.
I'm gonna hold this up. And do you have to pay royalties for that?
Huh?
You have to pay royalties for that?
Yes. It's cheap because it's oldies. I'll get it. Okay. And I have a station playlist automation system. There it is. What's it? It'll get
You have jingles and stuff? Okay. Really?
Jeff Lawrence does my liners. You've heard of Jeff Lawrence? He
Yeah.
does a lot of stuff on TV for seniors and that sort of stuff. And Carl Southcott, who works at Westwood One, he does liners for.
Well, he used to do that music up here. That's Chuck Southcott.
Yeah, that's just bad.
Yeah.
I used to be on.
He did the music up here
I
live.
used to be on there too.
Yeah.
I was on it 10, 12 years. That's how I met him.
So do you sell ads?
I am. But I can voice track. I voice track on it sometimes. I can voice track. Just the server's right there.
That's fantastic.
That's it. And it's,
All right, what do you say we
start watching
check out some movies?
Alexa, stop. Okay. All right. Let me say goodbye. We're going to shut the video off. I'll put all this on.